Hey everyone, this is AndreasGTube again, and I'm back with some casting, and today we have a pretty crazy sick match going on here. It's Qzipco versus Mr. Boombot, and it's a lot of history between those two players. It started when Qzipco beat Mr. Gandalf or Mr. Boombot in the ladder map by killing him with boombots. Ironic, isn't that? And then Gandalf got his revenge on bigger maps, some crazy maps, one 1300 map and one 900 map, and it's just crazy games, and he won by far. And now it's Qzipco's time to get a revenge on this small map. So let's jump into this and see how it's going. So starting here, Qzipco in blue here, and he's opening with a bot factory that's kind of common on this map, and getting out 2 fabbers here before he moves up to some extractor, power gens, another factory, just some common builds here. And we're probably going to see this assist this one here, and I don't think it's going for the third factory. No, Fabry is not. Gandalf starting bot as well, similar opening build, but he splits up his fabrics instead of building together. That slows down the building speed, but he grabs this 4th Mexus faster, and he's going to get up the radar. That looking back at Qzipco, getting up the radar as well in front. Bit quicker and stops it. Oh great, he's continuing it on. So both players with similar builds here. The only big difference I gotta say is Mr. Boombot aka Gandalf with a 3rd Faber here, moving on to build energy with his commander. I don't get why he's going that hard on energy on a map like this with no Trico, but we're just gonna see how that plays out for him. Me myself would prefer some more bat factories or vehicle or even air at this stage. It's strange that we haven't even seen air here. Finally, air factory goes up. 3rd factory is pretty common. I usually do that myself as well. Great for getting some fireflies out. Good to hide. Maybe some sneak expansion on the backside. Bombers are pretty good against those doxes, so it's interesting to see. We see now, interestingly, Qzipco moving around here. Gandalf not catching that, and he can't possibly kill the engineer. He's just gonna sit them back here and take care of anything that comes back there to build anything. Good strats. We see he's doing that all around. Finally, a radar going up from Gandalf. Oh, they're talking about teamspeak here. It's just some good old stuff. We have been a couple of guys just watching this game for a time now. A lot of fun using some good old lobby hacks to get more spectators inside that you can possibly do. So we have been maybe 7 people spectating these games at once. Pretty crazy. That's what you can do if you force them down to the spectator slots by Xing out their slots. We see Grenadiers out here from Qzipco, and this is a turning point, I gotta say. Interesting choice. Sorry about that. It leaves him vulnerable to boombots that we do indeed know Gandalf loves a lot. I would like to say he's mixing in some doxes in there as well, but he isn't, and I think that is going to cost him a lot playing against someone like Gandalf. And they are in the same TeamSpeak channel here, and it looks like they're a bit trash talking between the two players. It's not surprising me too much, because I think it's a lot of hate between them, or at least they really badly want to win after all their history. We see managing to expand back here, but some nice bomber sniping from Qzipco before he manages to get up the air. Good win from there, but we see here that the doxes are real, and he isn't flanking with the Grenadiers. Finally flanking with the Grenadiers and gonna get some nasty splash damage to these dogs. That's beautiful. Nicely micro here from Mr. Boombot, but it isn't enough. Many of them are going down. Finally some doxes in the mix for Qzipco. That's what I like to see. Will we see Mr. Gandalf switch up to building some boombots? Not yet. Going for the radar. I like this strat, but fortunately got another one, and that one is protected by anti-air. Trying to bomb the doxes here with the air when they're patrolling isn't too good. We see it take some hits, and it's not really getting any damage done. Looking at the eco now, Mr. Boombot are in the lead, but he's wasting big time it looks like, and that's not good. You do not want to waste in metal, of course, and that's not Qzipco, and it's only one extractor behind with 7, and that one is going up now, so I think he's actually in the lead in this map. Looking at the army tab though, Mr. Boombot is ahead, but we know that those Doxes, they are more cheap compared to especially the Inferno, but also the Gandairs. Extremely interesting now to see how this confrontation is gonna go, and look at that splash damage, managing to micro his Doxes, but there he isn't paying enough attention here, and I think that's a favorable confrontation from Gandalf there, but definitely a close one. See finally in the Inferno out, but too late. We see here the classic Gandalf strat, just patrolling these crazy areas with the Doxes, gives him a crazy ton of vision and takes out expanding fabrics. At the moment we only see this one fabric from Qzipco, and that's O2 here, and that's not gonna be enough for him at this stage. He really want to grab more metal, but he's actually in the lead as well, so it's pretty close here. I think he's got a shot, but he needs to deal with all this stuff, and tanks is not the right way to go about it, because then Mr. Boombot will just get out those boombots, of course, as we've seen so many times before, and the army count is brutal. Still no air out from Mr. Boombot, so that's kind of strange. Pushing hard here with his commander. I would think he will have some Doxes around his commander this time around, because last time he did that versus Qzipco, he ended up being Boombot sniped, as I mentioned earlier. Oh, some good hits here for the bombers, but unfortunately the fighters just sitting there and being picked at. We see here a single ace turrets perfectly. That's just what you need to defend against all these patrolling forces. Too much Infernos here in the mix, unfortunately, for Qzipco, and has to return and get more troops with Infernos. We see the same situation here as well. It can pay off her though if he gets them close to the commander, but he gotta do that, and to do that I would try and get a bomber right at the commander here and taking out all those Doxes. We are closing in on the ending here. I think I can smell it. And Gandalf pushing hard on this side here. The only bad thing for him is that the commander are there protecting. You gotta have Urbican, and it's painful. Shit. That was a lot of units. And can he defend here now? Unfortunately not moving for the commander here with Infernos as he would have wanted. Qzipco is still ahead in terms of eco here at the moment, surprisingly enough, if you look at the units, and it just looks like he's more about patrolling. He's not really expanding. This is the only fabric he's got. Oh, he's got one more here, but not grabbing the mexes yet. That can turn around. We see finally some boombots out here from Mr. Boombot. As I thought, he can just peek off this army here easily and get some good wins here. And the window is closing for Qzipco, but the commander are looking rather vulnerable, and to be honest, I wouldn't be too surprised if we do see a sniper. It's possible. We see here though that Infernos ain't really doing the trick here. They don't get in close with the Doxes, and they just get picked at. Can also easily microwave from the Grenadier shots there. Pulling back with his AX commander here, Mr. Gandalf. But we see a major pushing force out here from Qzipco. That's a lot of metal, judging by the amount of Infernos here, and is a pretty good composition here with different units. But we're gonna see the Boombots come to play here, and if Mr. Boombot plays this one right, I think that will gain him such an advantage that he actually can possibly win this game. Oh, the bomber is real though, and it's crazy good, taking down a lot of boombots, and now he needs to pull back. He needs to pull back here. Can he defend against the boombots? I think this is a deciding moment for the match. Unfortunately, Gandalf not sending the boombots in, and it's through. Look at all these Infernos ready now to take on the base here. It's big, and I would not be surprised if Gandalf either calls GG or go for a major push here, because this is not looking too good for him. As I said earlier, he's even better at bigger map, because this stuff is not looking good for him. We know he's a good player, but it's just not played in his favor this match. And we see Qzipco pushing from separate direction here towards the commander. Gandalf feeling threatened and moving the docks as close to the commander. He's pushing away. I think he's afraid of getting boom-botted at this stage as before, but we don't see any boom-bots out from Qzipco yet. We see finally expanding to the backside here. I haven't been too much paying attention to that because it has been too dramatic in the front here, but hopefully you've catched it here. The Gandalf have gotten some expansions, and Qzipco not look at the vulnerable commander here, and with boombots, yeah, you see them picking at the units here. Crazy good against the Grenadiers, but unfortunately they're standing still and getting picked down piece by piece. But I gotta say, good to see Qzipco learning from his opponent's mistakes and having those doxes there protecting his commander, because that can be so important in late game. Wow, look at the vulnerable commander here at the moment for Gandalf. He may go down any minute now, to be honest. It's just not looking good for him. Whoa, I just have to say, this is a close one. It isn't often that we see Forge go this far, I gotta say, but I just favor the Grenadiers with all this CGI on this map, and with the Infernos they're pretty good. We see those some crazy good micro from Gandalf there, but the bomber getting hits there, and he has to push out with his doxes and getting attacked from several directions here. Looking at the eco, Qzipco are in the lead by far, and he's using this advantage at the moment. He isn't wasting in terms of metal. We see here though Gandalf using boombots, but not using it good enough in this game. I've seen him use it many times better in other games, so not really working for him here. Possibly can get some nice kills here with boombots, but wow, yeah, he's more of a macro player, not the micro, and this is more of the micro map. Like we saw in the last game that you unfortunately wasn't able to catch. You can check it on PS Stats, but whatever, we saw that Gandalf's macro skills really come to play, just as we see the best macro players in the game, such as Matisse and Gandalf and Klops, those crazy good macro players. They really have that in, but when it gets smaller like this, some more like heavily trained micro players like maybe Qzipco, who are more likely to win at the small maps. But still, I think Gandalf is putting up a crazy good fight here, judging by his just going ducks on such a small map, where you often tend to see tanks dominating and of course Grenadiers here. We see Qzipco moving around to the backside to his expansions, and Mr. Boombot, he cannot afford to lose this, because that's gonna be a lot of metal. Finally we see the Boombots be using in his right element here. That's how I want to see it. That's how he rules with Boombots usually, and finally we see it comes to play as Gandalf likes. But unfortunately a bit too late now, as Infernos rolls into the base. But can he do the same trick with the Boombots again? It's a deciding moment for him. He needs to move in right away now. And he decides his moment and he's going for it, taking down a lot of those Grenadiers. It's crazy. Whoa, that was so metal efficient, but unfortunately for him, the Infernos are real here and they're chasing the commander down. I'm not surprised if we're gonna see it blown soon, but the Infernos are getting reduced. They get close. Are you gonna go down? Oh shit, it's GG guys. It's GG. What a game, huh? Beautiful. That was a close game, I gotta say. I personally favor Qzipco's composition, crazy good, but as we saw down here, those boombots can do wonders against the composition, and if Gandalf had pulled that better off, as I know he's good for, he'd maybe be able to win this one. I also gotta say that the air superiority from Qzipco Gandalf not going one single air factory, did he? No, he didn't. And it went in his favor. He got some good bombers here, as we saw here, that I didn't really catch. He just so easily cleans up with those bombers. We see he's going a crazy high rate with the bombers here, but that's what we can something you can count on with the when this opponent doesn't go any anti-air, just the docks anti-air. Wow, what a map. So this was my first cast in a long time. I hope you enjoyed. I'm maybe a bit rusty, it's hard to say. I really want to do more of this cast in the future, but I need to know from you guys if you really like them or not, if you want to see me doing more of this or not. So if you liked it, if you want to see more of this, please drop a like in the description now, under here, and comment in the description, because I want to know if you want to see more of this or more of pops. I'm gonna show you more of both, but I am tempted to cast more in the future. Anyways, GG, and thank you guys for watching. Have a nice day.
Okay. Now, if anybody tries to try anything to try to fly over my base,
No! Fuck! I hate you!
Good night.
I really hate that rush strat. I wish it wouldn't work so well, but it does. Mod. Poor Mod. Oh. Getting attacked by mushroom the whole time.